slinging stuff everywhere. Alright y'all, welcome back to day 2 of meal prep. Today we're going to throw together some casseroles, some breakfast biscuits, and some cookies. So we are going to make breakfast biscuits. So basically my biscuit recipe that is from my cookbook, and then you add sausage and bacon and seasoning to it, and that's going to be the biscuits, a breakfast option. I have a baking mix. This is chocolate chip cookies from the Chipmonk baking company. So we're going to make some of those to have on hand. We are going to make one of my easy 5-minute casseroles to throw together. This is going to be kind of like a Greek style. So we're going to do that. And then we are going to make a sausage and squash casserole, which is one of my very, very favorites. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with our casseroles. All right, y'all, we are going to throw together a super easy casserole. This casserole can be put together in less than 5 minutes if you use a store-bought tzatziki sauce. I don't have a store-bought, so I'm going to go ahead and make it. Tzatziki sauce literally just takes less than 5 minutes to make as well. But I'm going to walk you through how I make my tzatziki sauce. I am going in with a fourth a cup of shredded cucumber. What I do is I shred it on a mandolin, and then I squeeze out the water. So after I do that, it's all squeezed out. We've got about a fourth a cup here. I'm going to put a fourth a cup of sour cream. And then typically I would do a fourth a cup of mayonnaise. But because we are making it as a topping, in place of the mayonnaise, I am going to put some cream cheese. It's going to give the casserole a very nice consistency. So 4 ounces of cream cheese, tablespoon of garlic. We like garlic. You can use less. And then I am going to then put in the zest of 1 lemon. I've already kind of zested that, y'all. A little bit more. So zest of a lemon. And then take that lemon and we're going to squeeze this lemon. It depends on how big your lemon is. Either half a lemon to 1 lemon. So there's half a lemon's worth. We're going to get this stirred up. If you have fresh dill or fresh parsley, both of those would be really, really good right here in this. We are just going to go ahead and use, of course I forgot to get it out, y'all. We are going to go ahead and use some dried dill. Use as much or little as you want. I think if I use fresh, I can get away with a little less. If I use the dried, I go a little bit heavier. I like my tzatziki sauce to be very dill. So we're going to get this all stirred up and taste it. And what this is going to do is make a topping basically to our casserole. All right, we are getting there. We're going to add a little bit of salt. And making this sauce literally took me about 1.5 minutes, y'all. I already had done the cucumber. So if you have to shred the cucumber, that's going to take an additional couple minutes. But it's truly very, very quick. So the next thing that I'm going to do, set my tzatziki sauce to the side. I am going to put my chicken in the bottom of the pan. You can use chicken thighs, chicken fingers, chicken breasts. Basically, you just want boneless chicken. Any kind you want to use is totally fine. Just remember that the size of your chicken determines how long it's going to cook. That's really all that we're worrying with here. So I like to season at every layer. So I'm going to take some Greek seasoning by Fresh Jacks. This is so good, y'all. And I'm just going to season this chicken pretty liberally. I like to do it right in the pan because that way I don't have to dirty up anything extra. So we're seasoning this chicken on one side pretty liberally, going in with some salt and pepper. Then I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Then I'm going to take just a little drizzle of olive oil, put that right over the top. And then I'm just going to turn this chicken over a few times in this so that it gets coated on all sides. If you wanted to, you could put your chicken in a Ziploc and shake it up with the olive oil and the seasoning just to make sure that you get it on everything. But I just like to use one pan and I just mess with it. Flip it all around until the chicken is seasoned everywhere. And then just line it back up in your pan, however it fits best for you. So next, we're just going to load our ingredients. You could use canned sliced peppers of any kind. You could get that can that has a bunch of different marinated vegetables in it. What is that called, y'all? I forget what it's called, but you know the jar that has like lots of different pickled vegetables? You could use one of those. You could get canned sliced pepperoncinis, any kind of canned peppers. You could get some olives. I don't like olives, so I'm not adding it, but the point is you can make this super simple by just using canned, already sliced veggies. This was created because I needed to empty out the fridge of a few things. So once I have my chicken ready, the next thing I do is I just take my vegetables. I have 4 ounces of each of these things, but now that I'm looking at it, I think I'm gonna maybe do 2 ounces of these sweet peppers. I'm gonna do about half of that, but I don't wanna overload it. And then I have some marinated mushrooms. This is about 4 ounces of marinated mushrooms. This is just from, you know how at the deli section, they have like different like an olive bar with different marinated things. That's where I got these mushrooms, and also these little tiny mini petite peppers. I'm not sure what they're called, but these are from that salad bar area too that was marinated. So there's 4 ounces of this as well. And I'm just kind of going to pour the marinade juice, a little bit of that in there too. Now, I am going to build the top of our sauce. So I am going to take, I think I may have a little too much of the tzatziki sauce, y'all, for the amount of chicken that I have. So I'm taking half of my tzatziki sauce and the full 4 ounces of goat cheese. You could totally use feta here too. If I used feta, I'd probably just crumble it over the top, but goat cheese is what we had in the house. So the next thing you're gonna do is literally just plop your sauce right on top, and you are going to spread it out as evenly as you can. If you feel like you need more sauce, it really just depends on how much chicken you have, y'all. This was about 2 pounds of chicken. And I think that works. I think that was the perfect amount. So save the rest of your tzatziki sauce. You can use it for something else. Just put a top on it, put it in the fridge. Tzatziki sauce is good with so many things. You could even use like sweet peppers and dip in it, or cucumbers and dip in it. So we've got our casserole all done. The last step is completely optional. You could do 2 things. You could just sprinkle some Parmesan cheese right over the top of this and be done with it. Or if you like my low-carb breadcrumbs, the recipe is in my cookbook. I always have it in the freezer to top things with. So it's pork rinds crushed up, nutritional yeast, and Parmesan cheese. So I'm just gonna add some of my Greek seasoning right to that mixture, and I'm gonna mix it up, and I am going to use this to top the casserole. It just gives it a really nice crunch, y'all, and it literally takes less than 30 seconds to put together if you already have it in the freezer. I like to make it in big batches. So I'm just gonna spread this over the top, and as it comes out of the oven, it just gives it a really, really nice topping. Again, totally optional, but if you have it, I highly suggest doing it. I highly suggest on a meal prep day just making up a ton of these low-carb breadcrumbs. They store really, really well, pretty much indefinitely in the freezer. So there we go. There's our first casserole. I'm going to set it to the side while we make the next one. We would love to have you join, subscribe, click that like button. When you hit the like button, it changes colors, y'all. Did you know it goes blue? Or the down button, it changes too. Anyways, if you are enjoying this, we would love for you to check out our new series. We are doing a keto or low carb cocktail series every single Friday night at 6 p.m. And I will link up in the iCards here and down below a link. We have 3 episodes so far, and they're going to be going indefinitely. All right. Okay, we're going to build our squash casserole. I start it here and then I finish it in the oven. So just putting some avocado oil in. Usually I just cook my sausage and then I do the rest in the sausage grease, but I cooked my sausage yesterday, so we're going to start here. I've got this over about a medium, and you could do like sliced onions if you wanted, like long slices. But this time I'm just doing diced because that's what I did before I thought about it. And my typical recipe is just the onions and the squash as far as vegetables. But I wanted to add some of these peppers. These are the, I have no idea how you say it, y'all. Sqaush peppers. So we're going to add both of those right into this. and get that kind of stirred up and let it start to saute down, and then we will add our squash. Okay, y'all, so now that this has started to soften up, I also have some mushrooms that I just needed to use up. So again, the peppers and the mushrooms don't typically go in this, but that's the cool thing about a casserole, y'all. You can use it to use up what you have, right? So I'm going to add that, and then I am also going to add about a tablespoon of garlic. I like to use roasted garlic, but I am totally out of my roasted garlic, y'all, which is a travesty because it makes stuff taste so much better than just diced up garlic, in my opinion. So that'll be on meal prep next week probably. But I'm just going to let this finish. We're kind of over like a medium. Let this keep cooking down just a little bit. Then we'll add our squash. Okay, at this point, I'm going to add all of my squash in. I just use a mandolin, y'all, and slice the squash. I don't like it to be too thin because then it'll just completely disintegrate and fall apart. So this is about what I do on my mandolin. So I'm going to just get this all mixed together and let the squash start to cook down. Again, I don't want to make this like fall apart. So I'm just going to let it start to cook down, and then we'll add everything else back in, put it back in our casserole dish, top it with some cheese, and bake it. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and add my sausage. I'm going to add about a pound of sausage to this, y'all. If you don't want to use sausage, you can make this completely without the sausage and just have it be an all vegetable casserole. But when you add the sausage, it just kind of makes it a complete meal. But the sausage is totally optional as well. We're just going to get all of this stirred really well together. And now we're going to start adding some seasonings. I'm going to add some toasted onion all-purpose seasoning. I just really like this. So a good drizzle of that, probably about a tablespoon. And then this other one is garlic herb seasoning. Last time I made this, I used Greek seasoning. You could use Italian seasoning. Whatever kind of seasoning sounds good to you that day, that's what you should use, y'all. So we're just going to get this all mixed so that it's incorporated. And then we are going to add a little bit of cream cheese and heavy cream and Dijon mustard and kind of turn it into, kind of make a sauce. So this is the sauce that's going to go in. This is 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 4 ounces of cream cheese. You really could use up to 8 ounces of cream cheese, but I only had 4 ounces left today. Then about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Just get that stirred around really well. I like to use melted cream cheese, just makes this process faster. So as soon as I get all of this stirred, I'm going to add it right to my pot. Okay, so I'm just going to add everything from this pot here straight in. We're going to get this stirred around, and then we're going to throw it all in our casserole dish. Okay, so we're just going to dump all of this into a 9x13. Again, you can always half this recipe if you don't feel like you'll eat it all week, or if it's just you. Truthfully, I pretty much eat this one by myself. My family is not a yellow squash fan. I usually give half of it to my dad, and then I do it. So now that that's spread out, you're going to put the same pan that we made our previous sauce in. I put another 1/4 cup of heavy cream and 2 eggs. I'm just going to beat this well, add a little bit of seasoning to it, and this is going to pour right over the top and help make the sauce, y'all. So I added a little bit of garlic and herb seasoning, and I'm going to add some fresh cracked pepper. Okay, y'all. Then we're going to come over here to our casserole dish, and we are just going to pour this. Kind of try and go evenly. We're going to pour this right over the top, and then just use your spoon and try and spread it out. It's going to sink down in there. It's going to sink down in there, and because of the eggs, it will help it set. And trust me, y'all, this is so good. But we're not done yet. A couple more steps. Next, I usually use freshly grated sharp cheddar. I am out, so I am just going to take some mozzarella cheese and just put some mozzarella over the top. You can use any cheese that you want with this, y'all. Again, if you change your flavor profile, you can also use the cheese to change flavor profile as well as your spices. So I just put that over the top, and then same thing as the last casserole because I just love how it turns out. I take some of my low-carb breadcrumbs and I just add that over the top as well. Again, if you just make a ton of these breadcrumbs at one time, throw them in a Ziploc or in a ball jar, put it in the freezer, and then it'll just be there and be ready for you. So this casserole literally took us 10 minutes to put together. And now we're gonna put them in the oven. So I'm just gonna put both of these kind of in the middle rack in the oven. They're both gonna take about, well, the squash will take about 20-25 minutes for the cheese to melt and the eggs to set. The chicken, because I'm using small chicken tenders, probably about the same time, but at about 20 minutes, I will test the temperature. I just don't like to guess on chicken, so we'll test it in about 20 minutes. All right, y'all, we just took a little bit of a break and now we're gonna make our biscuits. So I am making a biscuit recipe right out of my cookbook. My cookbook is always linked down below for y'all. But the secret to these biscuits is two things. One is using Trim Healthy Mama baking blend instead of almond meal. I feel like it makes a huge difference in your product. The other thing that's really important is sifting your flour. Anytime you're baking, sifting your flour is just a vital step. It just is. Things will not turn out the same, not even close, if you don't sift. So I found this sifter after trying 5 million and being so frustrated. I found this one at Sur La Table. I think it was, I don't know, $14. I don't know, but I'll find it and link it for y'all. But the holes in it are not super, super fine. Most of the sifters that you will find are really pastry sifters, and pastry flour is super fine. Almond flour and other gluten-free flours, not super fine. So I was spending hours sifting, it felt like forever. And this one sifts so quickly. I have been super, super impressed with it. So let me finish sifting this flour and then I will show you how easy it is to throw these together. All right, so the first thing you do is you always do your dry ingredients, sift your dry ingredients. And so I use some baking powder, Trim Healthy Mama baking blend, and some salt for my dry ingredients. And then the next thing that I'm gonna do is combine my wet ingredients in with this. I usually combine my wet ingredients together and my dry ingredients together, and then I put them all together. So I've got some melted butter. We have, so in here I put 4 tablespoons of melted butter, y'all. Now I'm gonna take 2 eggs. And I'm just gonna lightly beat those. I probably should use a whisk, but it will be okay. And then we're gonna take some sour cream. We've got our butter, we've got our sour cream, we've got our eggs. We're gonna beat that all together really well, preferably with a whisk, but this will work. And then you combine these two things and that makes your basic biscuit mix, okay? Now, if you want to make this a sweet biscuit, like you want to make a shortcake out of it or something, you can totally add a little bit of Lakanto powdered sweetener or brown sugar, substitute anything like that, a tablespoon or 2 to make it sweet. If you want to make it savory, you could totally add some cheese and any kind of spice you want to make it kind of like Red Lobster biscuit-like. We are going to turn this into a breakfast biscuit. So first I'm gonna get all of these ingredients in here, and then I am going to kind of get it all mixed together first. And we are almost completely out of cheese, y'all. I did not realize this, but usually I would add about half a cup of cheese. So I'm gonna do half a cup of cheddar and then a little bit of mozzarella to make up the rest. Mozzarella is not ideal for this in my opinion, but somebody used up my cheese, y'all. So, throwing that in there, then I'm going to take bacon, and this is about 6 pieces of bacon diced pretty finely, and I am going to take some sausage. This is some hot sausage. This is about a cup of hot sausage that's already been cooked. And now you're just going to try not to spill it all over the place like I did. Now you're just going to combine this thoroughly. If you want to add any kind of spices in here, you could add a little bit of maple extract even to give it like the McGriddle type feeling. Actually, you know what, we're doing that. All right, my favorite extracts are also from this Trim Healthy Mama. They have much cleaner ingredients than what you would get at the store. So if you're going to trimhealthymama.com to buy any of the stuff that I use, I use their baking blend all the time. I use their sunflower lecithin all the time. I use their flavorings all the time. So this is their maple natural burst. The ingredients are alcohol, water, and then the maple flavoring. So I really like these. So I'm gonna go in, you know what, I haven't used this one. Take the top off. I just realized my oven had been at 350, so I upped it to 400 for this. And I am just going to take half of a teaspoon, so that's a fourth. I just went ahead in with a teaspoon of that, just to give it that flavoring, you know. And then you just want to get this all mixed really, really well. And then we're going to form biscuits. You may actually need to get your hands in there just to make sure that everything is distributed really well throughout the biscuits. So I have this all put together, and I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for around 10 minutes while I make the next thing. Then we'll form the biscuits. If you don't give it that time to set and rest, the biscuits kind of spread out and don't look as good or taste as good, in my opinion. So whenever you're making gluten-free / keto type biscuits, always let that dough rest. All right, y'all, what we're making next is some cookies. These could not be easier to throw together. I love having a mix. I'm not a baker, and having a mix just makes everything better, right? I love these. So Chipmonk Baking Company, y'all, I probably sound like a broken record, but they're by far the best cookies that I've had in the keto world, in the low carb world. There's other kinds, other brands that I love, like that I really, really enjoy. Nobody has been able to top Chipmonk. So literally all you do is take 4 tablespoons of butter. I have it softened already. 1 egg going in, and then about a teaspoon of vanilla. You could beat this by hand or with a handheld mixer, but I have my KitchenAid. It's always out on my counter, so I just always use that. So you're just gonna mix that together and then add the mix that together, and then you're ready to bake. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of push the sides down real quick. Buzz it one more time, and then I will add the mix. It just doesn't get any easier, y'all. So literally you just add your bag in. It has everything that you need in it, dry ingredient wise. Now we're just going to blend this. And when that's done, we'll just form our cookies, y'all. I mean, it doesn't get any easier, and they are so delicious. So here are the cookies, y'all. I just scooped them into balls. I rolled them in my hand into balls, and I'm just gonna bake them just like this. Okay, y'all, cookies are done. I'm gonna go ahead and put those in the oven. Oh, no, they need a few more minutes to heat. I just pulled these biscuits out, and you can make them whatever size you want. Whatever size sounds good to you. Just pull them out and make balls. They will definitely spread out some as they cook. So I'm literally kind of just making balls. The only thing is make them all the same size so that they cook right? So they cook at the same time. But otherwise, whatever size you want, and that'll just determine your cooking time. I'm gonna cook these at 400 and the cookies at 350, but I have a double oven, so that is not a problem. I love, 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 love having a double oven, y'all. All right, y'all, those are done. Biscuits are gonna go in the top oven. Another reason I love the Trim Healthy Mama baking blend is because it has less carbs and less calories than just using straight almond meal. So these are gonna go top oven, and then we're gonna put our cookies in the bottom. And y'all, I do have a code for y'all for Chipmonk now. I have not had a code. I've been sharing Chipmonk with y'all for a really long time, but I didn't have any discount codes. Well, this week they finally gave me a discount code. So it's not an affiliate link or anything, but it will save you some money if you want to try Chipmonk. All right, y'all, this is everything that we made in meal prep today. We got quite a lot accomplished. We did our marinara sauce and have a ton to freeze. We made our Greek chicken casserole. We made our sausage and squash casserole. We made a taco casserole. We made my buffalo dip, but we did a twist on it by adding bacon, some spicy pepper habanero sauce, and some blue cheese. We made a super yummy egg salad. We made a large chicken salad. We have chocolate chip cookies. We have breakfast biscuits, which are sausage and bacon and cheese. We have a lot of bacon left over, and I actually have a lot of sausage left over that I froze as well. So that is what we made today. I hope you had fun hanging out with me today while I cooked, and I will see you again shortly in our next video. Bye, y'all.